Okay, I'm gonna try. It's been a while. I know. It's been a long while, and just a lot of stuff has happened, and a lot of stuff hasn't happened. Um, but I am going to try to do my best to catch you guys up, to share my thoughts, and to, I don't know, just make it make sense. Because in the world it doesn't make sense, it's like a daily struggle. But with all that being said, obviously you see the first topic over here. This is not the Parent Trap. So with that, oh wait, I'm sorry. Here I am rambling. In case you guys don't know, my name is Nicholas, and this is my video vlog I am doing for 2025, and I am kind of rambling, but kind of just sharing thoughts. And who knows, you might have similar thoughts, and if you do, please share them in comments. If you might have your own opinions, your own thoughts. Be open. Let me know what you were thinking and everything like that. With that being said, um, let me jump into this, and hopefully my audio is not sounding all kinds of, I don't know, wonky. I'm trying to do my best here, not to, there we go, not to sound too, I don't know, something. I'm not sure. I just want to sound right. So hopefully my audio's coming through, the visuals coming through, and I don't look too much like a bum. Hair's a little bit outgrown, beard's getting gray, but that's supposed to be part of the whole adulting process. Regardless, though, let me go back to the topic at hand. This is not the Parent Trap. And what I mean by that is that, well, all right. So a while ago, while me and my son were having like our bonding time, he mentioned that he couldn't wait for me and his mom to eventually get back together. And I immediately had to like pump the brakes, like, whoa, buddy, whoa, 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 whoa. And I had to sit him down and be like, okay, I have to be upfront with you. I have to let you know that there is something that can't happen. Not only can that not happen, it won't happen. There's no possibility of that happening, and it's not anything that he's at fault for, that he's responsible for, or that he needs to worry about. Um, I have moved on, and I'm in a very healthy relationship now, and we have all these things that help us become better people. And I'm very happy with where I am in life right now. Even though I'm always trying to do better, I am very happy with where I am right now. Um, and I'm sure that his mom, she has obviously moved on and on and on and on. And that's her path, that's her life, and that's okay. That it's not okay, but like, because what she does, what is important, what is absolutely important, the most important thing is that the one thing that me and his mom do have in common is that we love him to death. We love him tremendously and with all of our heart. So he doesn't need to worry about that. Now, there was a part of me that was kind of like, where would he get this idea from? Because to me, at least from my understanding and my perspective, like, it's not something that he was old enough to really understand at that time. Like, oh yeah, I remember when my parents were great, and they're like, oh no, that was never. He was too young to really see if that ever happened. And I'm not saying that we had horrible times, but in hindsight, of course, is more like there wouldn't be times that he'd be like, oh, I remember that because he was so young when everything kind of fell apart and fell through and broke and broke. Um, so I think it's just more of like most kids just want the two parents to be together rather than separate. And sadly enough, it was something that I also didn't want for him to have to go through either. Sadly enough, this is part of his life, which is the saddest thing. That yeah, his mom's gonna be over there, and I'm gonna be here, and we we currently have a very it's kind of fragile understanding that of how we share time, and it's one of those we're working on it as we move along and everything else. So like he doesn't have that kind of recollection of going, oh yeah, we had great times back then. Like we might have, and he might have remembered like the one or two events that were great, but the majority of it just wasn't healthy for anybody involved. It was best that this happened this way. I don't want to say it's best. like it's best that we're separate, obviously, from what happened. But I guess in my mind, if there was ever a way to prevent what happened from happening, that obviously would have been the best course of action. But you can't change the past. You can only deal with the present to improve on the future. So with that, explaining to him, like I didn't explain it like that, but like I explained to him like, yeah, me, I'm on my own path, your mom's on her path, but the thing that we have in common is you, buddy, and we love you so much. And like he seemed to understand it. He seemed to kind of go, okay, I think I'm catching what you're throwing at me. I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm glad that you understand. Granted, kids are kids. We'll see how that goes. Like if that ends up like unfolding another can of worms, and when that does happen, I will do my best to kind of sit him down. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it more. Let it be more of a back and forth rather than like, hey, this is where it is right now. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes on in the future there. So the next topic here is it's kind of linked, but it's kind of not because I was talking about the idea of disappointment. The next topic here, there we go. Enough disappointment in the world. And what I mean by this is that let me also rewind. So a couple months back, let's say like January, there was this flyer in our community bulletin board, and the flyer stated that if a child who's currently attending school is able to maintain an A average in his education, they will be able to go to the community pool for free. Now, our community pool is not free. It costs money to go in and everything. And when I told my friends about this, they're like, "You have to pay to get into your pool." I'm like, "You guys don't have to pay to get into your own pool." But no, yeah, we have to get paid to get to our own pool. And so he loves swimming, and it was definitely like, "Hey, buddy, let's make this a goal. This is the goal, and the goal is immediately linked to the reward. Like, oh, get this A average, you'll be able to go to the pool virtually whenever you want. That's great. That's awesome. That's amazing." So we have been working hard. I've been, you know, keeping on. You know, hey, let me see your planner. Let's. If you have any problems, like he will do his homework here. So like, if he has any problems, I can help him out with it, and I can kind of keep him focused because he has a tendency of kind of like, um, how do you say, getting distracted. And whenever he gets distracted, he doesn't really like. Obviously, he doesn't get work done. He turns in assignments late and everything else. Um, Even though just recently, well, not just recently, like every time I have a parent teacher conference to go, he is an amazing child. He is so bright. He is like the reason that like we strive to be teachers. Some teachers even tell me, and I'm like, those are really strong words. And they're like, yeah, we love having him in class. I like he's not a disturbance. He knows what the material. Even when we try to like not trip him up, but when we try to challenge his thinking, he's like, okay, well, how, you know, and he's able to come back with it. I'm like, that's amazing. That's great. He's like, yeah. Sometimes he's just in his own head. Sometimes to the point where he can't turn in assignments, can't finish exams. I'm like, all right, cool. And I've been talking to teachers, talking to counselors, talking to educational professionals in the institution to be able to see what we can do to kind of like not let him slide. I don't want him to slide or to be like for him to be given a pass. I want him to be given the opportunity to do the best that he can and to improve on that. So we've been doing that really, really well. His grade average right now is, believe it or not, right now, as of this very moment, it is an 89, which is like a B plus, A minus. No, it's a B plus. Well, that's what it is, B plus, because a 90 would be the A minus. Like he is like literally this close. So like it's not that bad, obviously, because like a B plus is amazing, but it isn't the A average. So like the idea is like, okay, we'll put his final stretches of school, for him to like just be sure to finish your assignments, because like it's not that he does bad with these assignments. He doesn't. Every assignment he turns in is great. The issue is that he has problems turning it in. So mostly just like trying to remind him like, oh, I get it finished so that you can turn it in, and when he turns it in, boom, it's just automatic grade. So that's like the foundation right now. And when I say like the world is full of disappointment, has enough disappointment, what I mean is that a week or two ago, I wanted to there was something in my brain like, hey, you probably want to take a picture of that, just in case some dumb stuff happens. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I eventually go up to the bulletin board and I see that it's no longer, the flyer is no longer there. the flyer does not exist anymore. And I'm like, no. So I call the manager of our facility here, and I was like, hey, there was this flyer. It talked about kids being able to go to the pool if they're able to keep it A average. I've been working with my son. I don't see the flyer there anymore. If you have a copy of the flyer, can you send it to me so I at least have proof that it existed, this, that, whatever. And the manager replied back saying that, oh yeah, that was an old flyer from last year. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean from last? I seen this in January. January. So you saying that it was up from like up until like January, February, and then like you, oh no, it's an old thing, and you took it down. Like at what point? Obviously, like my mind's going like a bunch of different things, but then it was even like, hey, it was from last year, and we don't know if we're gonna do it again this year, because if you're keeping an eye and a tab on like the political aspect, sadly enough, it is bleeding into like daily life. As one of my favorite influencers says in his news broadcast, politics might not mess with you. Sorry, you might not mess with politics, but politics will mess with you. So now this free ride to the pool is no longer available. And I told my friends about this, and my one friend was like, "Oh, well, just tell them that it's not something that's going to happen. Disappointment is part of life. They'll get over it." And I'm like, maybe like it's true. Like disappointment is a part of life. Totally understand that. Totally on board with that, and I hear what you're saying, but there's something in me that goes, that is not acceptable to me. So I have already made a decision that this summer, whenever he wants to go, I will just have funds ready for him. So like right now, I am trying to figure out the amount of funds required for him to, like, at any given moment, hey, Dad, I want to go to the pool. I'm like, all right, cool. Here it is. Pull it out from the envelope, or like talk to the people down at the facility. Like, hey, is there like a pass system? Like, I'll pay for that this year, and he will just go. And because if he's able to make this A average, that is work that he's putting into something. And yes, sometimes the world is harsh and it doesn't give you what you deserve, what you have worked for based upon your merits. But I gave my son my word. And as a man, my word is my bond. And if nothing else, I want my son to also follow true to that. That if he says something, that it should be carried out by him. Like if he goes, oh, I'm going to clean my room. All right, you gave me your word, you're going to clean your room. That is important. That you gave me your word that you're going to do this thing. That you said you were going to do something and that you do it. And I think that needs to be more echoed in our current generation. I already know life is hard enough already. I mean, like, why do I want to add to that hardness? If there's a way that I can make that happen, I'm always going to make it happen. He's already working hard on this school stuff, right? He's keeping his A average. Like, I know it's like B plus, about 89%, but he's getting there. He's getting there. So if he's able to succeed in that, he's able to get it. Even if I had to foot the bill, he's going to that pool. I'm going to try to find a way to pay for him to go to that community pool during the summer anytime he wants. Period. I will find a way to make that happen. And like I said, I definitely want to be a dad that keeps his word. I understand the unexpected happens all the time. But like I said, a man's word is his bond. He should do everything in his power to keep it. Or else the world truly just gets worse. So, yeah, there's my kind of rant on that. And with that being said, see, all this is really connected, and it all really is like connected to my son. The next thing is summer camp. There we go. Why is that so small? I don't know why that is so small. I need to fix that later. But summer camp, yeah. So they finally sent out an email about summer camp. He's in Boy Scouts. He's doing really well in Boy Scouts, and he likes going to summer camp. So I am definitely doing everything in my power to do it. And I thought I would have more time. I do not. I thought I had until he actually went to summer camp. I do not. I have until May. Now, it could be a little bit late. Obviously, there's late fees if I am late with that. But the idea is that I want to get it done by May. So I have um, between now and May to be able to come up with the funds. Now, I already signed up for the uh, Boy Scout campership, which is like a scholarship for kids to be able to go to camp, especially if they have one financial hardships, two are making the effort in some way, shape, or form to be able to do X, Y, or Z. I definitely want that to be pushed forward. So, some help is I'm obviously not saying the amount. I don't think that's really necessary for me to say, but I am trying to budget and financially figure the logistics of being able to make sure that the funds are there for him to do that. Um, Not only that, with summer camp, there's also the sad part is like when I when when my son first started to live with us, his summer camp was in July, but people were saying, "Oh, July 4th." It was the first week of July, and they were like, "Oh, for 4th of July and everything else," and they pushed it up a week. That is my son's birthday that week. It's also my stepdaughter's birthday that week. So it's kind of like, now we need to figure out how to logistically do that. Do we give them the birthday early? Do we give it to them late? And what do we do? And me and Donald have been talking about taking the kids down to another amusement park that's near us, but that's not the same amusement park that we went to before. So figured out a way to financially pay for that. That's also gonna be like a thing I need to try to find a way to like juggle everything. So like that's definitely there. So this summer's gonna be and then me and Donna's anniversary is this summer, so there's that too. So like there's a lot of things happening this summer. My son's might also be visiting his my biological mom who lives down south, so that's gonna be another logistics situation to kind of like hurdle, like how's he gonna get there, how's it gonna be paid, how's like the visitation thing's gonna work out, if at all. It was one of those like, oh, that's something that you and whatever. Still working on figuring that out, but once again, I have some time to figure it out, but time is whenever like, I got plenty of time when like time decides like speed up. So like I definitely have to get on the ball about concreting these ideas, these concepts, and initiating and executing these plans that I have, or that I will have soon. So yeah, that's definitely something that's on the docket there. All right, so the other thing, cool, I didn't do it yet. The other thing is, there we go, awesome. Is putting things together. So what I mean by that is that so whenever my son moved in with us, it was definitely one of those. Before my son moved in with me, we were doing face-to-face to an organization called the Children's Aid Society, and it was great because we were able to do science experiments, mostly science experiments. We were able to explore certain things. I was bringing activities for us to learn things with and everything else. It was, I wanted it to be like a fun experience. Like, hey, let's make a water tunnel, or let's make a volcano, or let's check out these rocks and find gold, and like let's do something like with our hands and experiment and things. Like, it was fun. And then after that, his mom allowed me to see him during this festival where they lived, because at that time we didn't live anywhere near each other. Where they lived, there was a festival that was happening, and she was like, "Well, you can come over and actually experience the festival with him." And I'm like, "Oh, bet, yeah, I'm down." So I went all the way down to the festival, and we had fun. And it was a good time. And then after that, it was weekend. After that, it was weekend visits here, and we did that like maybe for a month and a half before she was like, "Hey, I'm being evicted, so can you just take him?" And I'm like, you fought me for 8 years, and suddenly it's boom, boom, boom. And there was a part of me that wanted to kind of be like mad about it, but I was like, I'm still kind of getting what I want, right? I'm getting exactly what I want out of this. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Just I wrote up documentations, like a court order that I would submit, and that went through, and I became his primary caregiver. So, but because everything was so boom, 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 there wasn't much time to prepare for things properly. So a lot of things that he had were things that I that I already collected for him. Like I collected a race car bed for him 2 years prior to me getting him, because I'm like, he's gonna want this. I'm gonna want him to have this. Boom. So like, I luckily had it in storage, so I was able to get that. But a lot of the other things in storage kind of broke down, or like, oh, when they broke down, excuse me. Whenever they broke down, I was like, oh well, he can have something that like my dresser, but my dresser's already in itself used and busted up, but still functional and still worked as a dresser. But over the years, even that kind of like started falling apart. So I was like, you know what? I think it's about time for you to get a new dresser. So I ordered a new dresser from Amazon, because everything's Amazon now. And whenever it came in, I was like, excuse me, I am so sorry. I was gonna fix up the bed for him when he was in school. He would just come back and put his clothes, like his old clothes, his clothes that were in the old dresser into the new dresser. But so whenever I started to do that, I'm like, you know what? I'd much rather do this with him. So I waited for him to come back to school, going back from school. I'm the one. When he came back from school, right? I was like, hey man, do you want to just work on this together? Like, it's like the weekend, like the beginning of the weekend, or maybe it was like a slow day. And I was like, hey, let's put this together, just you and me. And I realized real quickly why I don't work well with others, and it turns out that like, oh, even it extends to like family, which is like, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be the bear. I had a foster father who was very much a bear, and he meant well, but his default, there we go, let me say it, his default was bear. And he would mean to be like, oh, I want to be loving and understanding and everything else, but he was just a bear. And when I realized I was getting bearish, because like when I work on something, I'm working on something. I am serious. I am in it. But I can't be that way around him, because I don't want to be that way around him. I can't be that way because I don't want to be that way. There we go. So I stopped, took a step back. I'm like, what would I have wanted at that age? And I realized what I wanted was, I have a man who I call granddad. He's not my actual granddad, but I call him granddad because he literally does all the things that granddad does. And one of the things that made me really admire him was that whenever, like, I love working on my car. Whenever I first had a Cavalier, and then I had a Mitsubishi, and whenever I worked on that, I wasn't always sure what I needed to do. And but granddad would always be there to be like, hey, I won't do it unless you need me to do it, but I'll be there to like tell you, all right, you need this wrench, and you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, cool, as long as I get to do it, I'm good. I love that. I love being able to get my hands in it. So like, he respected that. He understood my limitations and like worked with that, and like he was able to be patient with me, understanding. He took his time with me and everything, and it was great. And I realized, I need to be like granddad. I need to be like granddad right now. So I was like, you know what? All right, buddy. Let's try it like this. And I'll give him something to do with his hands while I'm doing something else. That way he is part of it. And a big, huge part of it. But at the same time, I'm not stressing, and I'm not just sitting on my hands kind of thing. I'm also part of it, but like, he's also an active part of it too. He's not just watching me work. He's screwing things. He's putting things together. It was a really good experience, and I love that I was able. One, I love the experience in itself. Two, I love the fact that I was able to notice that, like, hey, what I'm doing isn't what I want to do, or wasn't the outcome that I was hoping for. How do I make this the best experience that I can with my son? And just changing my perspective and understanding what I would have wanted at that age definitely helped me be a better father in this situation. So being able, oh, you know what? I even have a picture of that. Hold on. Sort of image. Nope, that's his baby picture. Hold on. I do have an image of us actually working on that. See, he was always good at like just putting things together. So this is an image of him. Yeah. I swear to goodness, there we go. This is an image of him putting it together. like I said, like I'm like, hey, you work on this, and I work on this other thing, and I'll be able to direct you on what you need to do based upon the instructions and what we see needs to be done. And like, here he is putting it together, and here he is with the finished product. And there you go. Here he is with the finished product and everything. Like that was something that we did together. I'm really proud that we were able to do that together. So that definitely means a lot to me. And that was a learning experience there. Also, another thing. I'm just gonna slide this guy seeing this. Apparently, when he was in school, he has an intro to technology class, and they let him use a 3D printer, and he printed this thing. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It is awesome. Like when I first saw him, like, what is this? Where'd you even get this from? And he was like, I made this with a 3D printer. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's great. That is bee's knees, buddy. Bee's knees. All right, so I'm really proud of like the bonding. I'm proud of the progress that we're making. I'm proud of like he's an awesome kid, and it's been an experience, but it's been an experience that I am very proud to be part of. With that being said, all right, there's a couple more things. Don't worry, guys. I'm kind of speed rushing it here. So the next thing is potential job shadowing. So I have an aunt, and this aunt is not really my aunt through blood, but is my aunt through marriage. So it is my son's aunt, but I guess she's my aunt too, because I don't know what you would call that. But when we first met, whenever me and my son's mom got together, she did not care much for me. In this area, people were very close-minded, influenced by other things or what have you, and I'm very much aware of that. I'm also aware that I had to work on this for years. It's not like a crazy eye, but the way, like how some people have resting bitch face, and some people just have this serious look. I usually have a serious look, but like, I also would have a very intense feel around me, or like, I would call it crazy eye, but it wasn't. People like, oh, it's not crazy. It was just like a different aura you just give out. And I'm like, oh shoot, it's one of the reasons why, like, whenever I tend to go out, especially with my eyes, I usually wear, sunglasses, so that whenever I talk to people, they're not distracted by like the way that I look per se. It looks dorky and definitely gives off like dad vibes, which is kind of cool, but also almost can give out creepy vibes. But I'm working on presentation and everything. Also, I wouldn't wear this outfit with those glasses, but it is what it is. Regardless, though, whenever me and my aunt first encountered each other, was not a good first impression, because like I wasn't really that involved with her, because my focus was my family, so making sure they were okay and everything, Overwatch and everything. I was that kind of person. However, with everything, after everything went down, and being able to see the situation rather than just hear the situation of how things went down, she was able to understand, like, okay, well, you're not really a bad guy. I'm like, no, I never, no, never really claimed to be a bad guy. Don't want to be a bad guy. I am definitely not. I'm definitely just a guy, and just see me as that. And like, things have evolved from then. Like, the aunt also happens to have my son's half sister. Same mom. And that's an issue for a completely different day. But for multiple reasons and factors, my son's stepsister lives with his aunt. And because of our being able to communicate well now and talking to each other, my son gets to see his half sister. She actually visits every now and again. We have family gatherings with just like our family and their family, and it's interesting. It's blended. It's mixed. It's the American way, truly, the good American way. So like, so me and her talk back and forth. She tells me about what she does, and she's a social worker, and she's an amazing woman. No, especially now knowing from her who she is rather than from how his mom, how my son's mom will talk about her. But she's an amazing woman, and even though we didn't always have a great relationship in the beginning, we have an amazing relationship now, and it's great, and it's very supportive, and it's just good. It's just really, really good. And she was looking into seeing if I could like shadow her to see if it's something that like I could potentially do, because I definitely want to. I love the idea of helping people, and I'm interested in like trying to use what I know how to do. I know how to research things. I know how to find things. I know how to like when assignments given to me. I put my everything into it. So the shadowing was more or less to see if I would be able to be interested in that kind of work once I see it up front. You know what I mean? Like once you see it, like in person, it's like okay, well, I think I could definitely like try to dip my feet in further into this pool. So she was trying to set something up so that like um I can do that. However, Sally, scheduling has changed obviously with the things like shifting in the government. If you guys don't know, you probably should find out. Um, so because the schedules were changing and things were shifting, the shadowing had to be put on hold for now. Not sure when things are gonna pick back up, but I was so excited to go and I was ready to go. It was like the day of. They was like, "Oh yeah, we can't do this," this is coming into play, that's coming into play, and maybe we could find another way to do this. So the day even up until the day of, I was ready. I had my suit already. I had paperwork. I did research. I was on the ball. So whenever I heard I couldn't go, I was kind of heartbroken. But at the same time, I'm like, I had that kind of fire. You know what I mean? Like, I was excited to go. I wanted to go. I wanted to see what I can do. So like, I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that fire, and hopefully, in the future, another opportunity will come up to let me be able to kind of see what I could potentially be getting myself into. So, yeah. There's that. Next thing here is stepping in energy, which will happen in 3, 2, what? Oh, I was a little bit off. So stepping in energy. So what I mean by that is that because kids and schools are a breeding ground for germs, Donna's daughter, my stepdaughter, I say that because once again I am too old to be playing the whole um I'm just here with your mom right now. Like no, the goal is that me and Donna are gonna be more or less like she is my woman. She is my queen. She's a person I want to make things work 110% on. And she feels exactly the same way. We're on the same page. So in my mind, she's not just a girlfriend, it's beyond that at this point. Without the actual confirmation of we're going to be remarried, because we've both been married, we both have had the unfortunateness of going through bad marriages, so it's not like we're rushing to get into another one. But at the same time, we are so comfortable with each other, it is as if we are married. So understand, even though her daughter is not my actual stepdaughter, I treat her as such, not in replacement of her father, just a father figure to be able to be the best I can for her. So with her, she has a it's either a compromise or just a weak immune system, and I think they might mean the same thing but different. Um, but she does get sick decently easily, and earlier this month she had not just flu A, not just strep throat, but also RSV. So she had 3 sicknesses that no one else here had. So it's not like oh it must be your environment. Not no, because no one else here really got sick. Even when she was sick, none of us got sick. So it was just like just her immune system is just that much compromised that like she would just get that. So she missed a lot of school, a lot of doctor's appointments, and a lot of like we need to get medicine. We need keep you hydrated, keep you well, health wise, and to just try and do my best. And I know with Donna doing all these things to try to like we're doing it together, but like she is her daughter's obviously main go-to person. Like, oh mommy, I'm sick. She's not like, oh Nick, I'm sick. Like I'd be like, hey baby, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. All right, can I get you anything? Can I get you some liquids? Like do you want me to flush fluff your pillow. Like, are you good? So it's that kind of stuff. But whenever she needs something, she goes to her mom, obviously. So with her mom being so busy, I'm trying to do the best I can. So I'm like, all right, look, I'm gonna make dinner tonight. I got this. Like, oh, let me go pick her up, or let me talk to the doctors. This, that, whatever. I'm trying to do my best in this given situation. So, and I don't see it as like, in my mind, I'm like, this is what parents just do. It's not like, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna step up now. I'm like, this is what parents do. Or this is what partners do. This is what decent people do. So when people go, oh, well, you're really amazing for doing that. I'm like, no, this is the bare minimum. The bar should not be this low. It shouldn't be this low, but apparently it is. But like, I'm like, she is better now. She's better now. She got over the flu A and the strep B, and now she is fully recovered from the RSV. So we obviously need to keep her, make sure she's doing well in school, make sure that she's keeping hydrated, and helping her immune system as much as we can help it to be able to fight any future sicknesses. So there's that. So that's what it means, stepping in energy. I was gonna say stepping up energy, but like it's not stepping up. I'm just kind of stepping in, going, look, I see that you are like, Donna. Hey, look, you're doing a lot over here. I'm gonna do some stuff over here to help you out, help you guys out. So coverage is too big. So many commercials. YouTube, you killing me. So yeah, that definitely is something that like I'm not that I'm proud of. I am, but it's also something that like I'm happy that I am able to help. With that being said, two more things, guys. So this thing right here is called right way parenting. And it's what I call right way parenting, because so I was watching this crime documentary, and I'm not sure if you guys heard about this woman named Ruby Frankie. Ruby Frankie was a YouTube family streamer who streamed their family and everything, and she collabed with this woman named Sherry. Her name's not Sherry Hildebrand. That's someone else. Her last name was Hildebrand, the person that she partnered with. And it quickly became apparent that something mischievous was going on. Not mischievous, nefarious, heinous maybe, was going on. And when things unfolded, it unfolded by her son sneaking out of the house with duct tape around his ankles and wrists, going to a neighbor going, can I please have some food? Don't tell nobody. I'm just freaking hungry. So, being neighbors, they were like, okay, cool, we're going to give you some food, and then back when we're going to call the cops. Cops came, and they invested, and they realized there's a lot of shady stuff. But I was watching this other YouTuber, Rotten Mango, who covers these kind of stories, and it going into the details that she went into, it had me thinking that the ideal that having your own kids means being responsible, being accountable, being capable, and trying to pass those traits down to your kids the best way that you know how to. So, and obviously you guys see that I'm trying to do that, and I'm looking at this woman, this Ruby Frankie, and she truly believed that what she was doing was for the best interest of her children and her family. She believed that full-heartedly, that not starving, but limiting the food that they that they took in, that trying to get them to act right, trying to get them to act right through punishment, and everything else, that the mother truly believed that she was doing the right things for her children. And I've seen this before. My brother Danny works also in social work, and worked past tense in social work, and he has told me stories where people who were like abusers and people who were mistreating without SAing, like without like putting SAs out. Most like there are a lot of dads like, oh yeah, I was strict with my kids because I needed them to understand the right from wrong, that there were consequences within action. Like, okay, cool, not cool, but like that should be where everybody's mental, like, oh, kids should know the right difference between right and wrong, and that there are punishments for wrong. But like some parents, it's like, oh, all I know is how to beat my child because that's how I was raised. And it's like, okay, well now we're in an age where like that's not that it obviously is not acceptable, but like there are other ways to do it. There are other ways to show them right and wrong. There are other ways to treat them. And some people who fall into the wayside and get manipulated by other people happen to be in such a like I'm not saying Ruby Frankie was a good person for what she did to her children. I am not saying that. But what I am saying is that it raises the question on how much can you do to correct children, your own children, and still be on the side of good. If you ground your child and they're like, what's another week? Your mind goes like, all right, let's ante up. like, and then eventually they're gonna be like, what you gonna do? And like and sadly, my friends do kind of play the devil's advocate in this case. But whenever I try to do something with my son, they're like, he's just gonna do X, Y, Z anyway, or like, yeah, maybe so. Like any, I think even back whenever I was younger, and people were like, when parents restrict their children so much, they end up, whenever they get freed, they go buck wild, they go crazy. Christian girls go, girls gone wild out there, and that dated me, holy crap. But like, yeah, like that kind of stuff is something that I always worry about. Like some parents get lost or go to extremes to make sure that their kids are equipped with the right means to survive the world. I say that in the image of the girl from Kick-Ass 2 comes to mind. Her dad was a vigilante. So obviously, he had to push her to make sure that she's going to be okay out there in the world while they fought crime. Granted, there's a lot of things wrong with that. But like, once again, he did that with the best intentions in his mind. I want my daughter to be safe. I want her to be prepared, even in situations where I am not there to do it myself. Every father, every good father, has that instinct to make sure I want my kids to be safe. I want them to be prepared. I want them to be good. I can't speak on what moms do. I can't. I'm obviously not a mom. I try to be Mr. Mom whenever, Donna's not feeling well or whenever the situation needs me to be. But like, I am a dad. I try my damnedest to be a damn good dad. But this whole Ruby Frankie situation had me kind of going, what is too much? What is too far? Is there another way to all the things that I'm doing? And I'm trying on a daily basis to try to figure out what other alternatives I can use, what thinking outside the box can do. Maybe like keep in mind, back in the day, something as simple as, hey, have you listened to your child and what they have to say? Why would I listen to a 10-year-old? Like, it's that kind of thing. And back then, whereas now it's very much like, okay, yeah, listen to what they have to say, because there is some truth in what they're saying. They're having difficulty communicating that, but there is truth to what they're saying. We are in an age now where we are learning about our own mental health as adults and our mental capabilities, and at the same time trying to pass on those basic and best traits to our children, and trying to learn to handle our own experiences and be good models for the newer generation is key, and it should be important. Understanding that regardless of what happens, the ability to work through any obstacle the best way you can should be the goal, right? There's people who go like, oh yeah, sorry guys, give me a second. There are situations where people go, oh, I was traumatized because I had to babysit my siblings whenever I was a teenager while my parents went out. Like, that's not trauma. They needed you to step up, and in life you're gonna need to step up. In the situations, you just gotta be able to kind of go. And I'm not saying that, like, and there are parents, once again, that take that to the extreme, going like, oh yeah, my daughter is like the second mom to her siblings. Like, oh no, or like my boy is like a father figure to his brothers. Like, no, it shouldn't be like that. You should be the father figure. You should be the mother figure, and they should be the children learning responsibility. That should be the alternative way of thinking. Or at least that should be the way that it goes. And I know there are people out there who take that to certain extremes, or people who are traumatized. Because some people do it to such a level where it's traumatizing. Or it's like, oh, Someone who's 8 shouldn't be in charge of their 1-year-old brother or sister. Just saying. But we see that out there because the parents are like, too occupied and nothing. Or like they're too occupied doing other things. Just gonna leave it at that. What I'm saying is that how we were raised and how time is now is vastly different. And learning new techniques, learning new perspectives, learning new ways of understanding is very important. Be it through counseling, be it even through medical readjustment, the way to find your own way is gold. The way to find your own way to one parent, the way to find your own way to maneuver through the world and be able to teach your kids this is a way that you can maneuver through the world. That is important. I know, and this is another example, last one. There are a lot of older people who go, when I was in school, in math class, the teacher made me show work. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I show the work. If I just have the answer, that matters, right? Like, yeah. And like, even my son has given that to me. I'm like, but if you need help, and you try to go, well, two times 5, and then I put that in preference, and then I multiply. No. I divided that. Like, oh, show me your work. I didn't do no work. Well, then how am I going to help you? How am I going to help you get the right answer if I don't know how you got there? Or how do I know that you didn't cheat? Because right now the technology here, ChatGPT, Google, like back in the day was just calculated, but now it is. You can just get answers and then I'm done. It's like, okay, well, how did you come to that conclusion? How did you get here? Oh, I don't know how I got here. I don't know what this means. These are just words on a screen. These are just numbers. Well, if you don't know how to do that, then the answer means nothing. But like, if I'm a construction and like, they just need to find the measurements and I give them the measurements and the measurements are right, what harm does it do? I'm like, but if the measurements were wrong, how do you correct it? You just give them another number? Did you guess to get the right answer? Is there a quicker way for you to do it? How did you even figure it out? Oh, I just eyeballed it. Get out of here. But like, you understand what I'm trying to say. So the hard part is trying to find out how to do the right thing, do the right thing, but at least your own best way that you can, So that's what Ruby Frankie has taught me. That there is a limit to good intentions. And I know people say that. That's like, oh yeah, that's obvious. But like when you see it, oh, she's evil. But no. She seriously thought what she was doing was right. And the way, and granted, even though somebody else manipulated her, the foundation was, I want to do right by my kids. How do I do this? And somebody who knew her struggle was like, I know a way that I can help you. And that to me is bad. What Ruby had inside of her was already there, but the idea, like, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have that kind of strong conviction, anybody can lead you astray. Just something to say. All right, last thing I want to say here. Crap, I think I did it right. It should be about toxicity. Oop, spelled that wrong. There's toxicity. That's spelled wrong. I know that's spelled wrong. Is it gonna show up anytime soon? You're not going to show up, are you? Why are you not showing up?
What happens when real patients move curing hepatitis C
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. And then I need to find out why this box is not showing this toxicity. You know what? It doesn't matter. If I do this, right, that should work. Sure. So this is the last topic. I actually don't even have this on my thing here. On my thing. It's a note, but it's a separate note. So I've been thinking about the idea of what it means to be toxic. This is what I wrote. Lately, me and the missus have been watching this show called Marry My Husband, where a woman is murdered by her husband and best friend. I should have read this before I started saying it out loud. Then she is thrown back into 10 years in the past. I don't know where I was going with that. Why should I? Why I hate making this video happen. Okay, so ignore the whole Marry My Husband stuff. So I guess what I wanted to talk about here was about thick and thin skin. I don't know how the Marry My Husband thing was related to that, but it's like people say, oh, this current generation is full of soft people, snowflakes, what have you, and that anything should be on the table to be joked about or made fun of. And I guess what I want to say about that is one, that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. Why? You can't joke about something that you know nothing about, or else you're just making fun of something. You're degrading it. You are. It's more a negative like negative thing rather than like, oh yeah. It's kind of like if I were to make fun of Hispanics, I'm not Hispanic. Like it's not like something I can even relate to, or any other nationality. Now, if I could say like, oh, like Hispanics, African Americans are like, and then I can make that connection because I am African American. It's like, oh yeah, you're doing that all off that reference off yourself. Bad example, I'm pretty sure, but like I guess I probably should have even talked about it because I don't really. It looks like it's not even like a full thought, but like I guess that's something I do want to talk about, the idea of toxicity, about having the skin, and why I hate negativity about having or not having something or not being something, especially in the current world that we currently live in, where decades of civil and general people's rights are just kind of being rebroken down and things just being set back. I don't know. I might talk about that later. Or like another video. This video has been 4 weeks in the wake making, and I'm close to an hour. And I think I've talked enough. I want to thank you guys very much for dealing with my voice, for dealing with the topics I'm talking about. Once again, if you have anything to say, I'm okay with conversation. Like heck, I might even make a video about like the comments that are being said. I like that idea because as much as I do like to express like this is my struggles that I go through as a father, this is what I go through as a person, this is what I am going through in my life right now, as current events. I also don't mind if people kind of go, well, I think this. So like whether you are right, like you think on the right side of this, or you think on the left side of this, or up and down side of it, sideways of it, whatever way. If you have any opinion, please do not be shy to share. And who knows? I might bring it up. I might make an actual extra video log, like point 0.5, that talks about the comments. That'd be interesting. That'd actually be cool. But with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Later.